Yeah, I never have a program set for this kind of show because that's all I'll say. Good vach and everything else. It's nichnas oder marbim b'simcha. If you want to join me, I have a little bit of look at this wine I got. This was a gift from a friend of mine, my friend Moshe Wolfson, who just created this Wolfson Family Cellars vintage wine here just for this week. So if you'd like to taste something special, you're welcome to join me during intermission. Okay, I believe everybody here is over 21, right? Okay, and regretting every minute of it. Okay. Anyway, okay, let's see. Yes, there have been lots of changes over the last couple of years in music and in the feeling of the whole return, the Baal Tshuva movement, the getting it together and coming back into Yiddishkeit thing. It's different than it was, back in the early 70s when when Hashem gave me my kick in the so told me that I had to stay in Yerushalayim for 18 years. It was a different scene. Now, you have to sort of find God, in between, reports and deadlines and, and the aliyah v'yerida of .coms and everything else. So, which, I refer to as easy.com, easy go. So I'm sure many of you understand that. Temperature has changed in the room. Thank God it's gotten warmer since you all showed up. Bodies help. And strings change tunes, so let me just see here. Okay, good. I think we're there. There's definitely been an expansion here. Okay. I think we'll try to keep, I think the monitor's too loud. What do you think? I'd like to hear more. And the vocal, got the vocal monitor. That's good, I guess. Anyway, so this is a song which is sort of dedicated to the 80s and 90s. The era of greed and arrogance, and and know-it-all-ism, which we all suffer from. It's called "Changing Now." It's on Jerusalem is Calling. If you never bought Jerusalem is Calling, I'm calling to you now to please buy Jerusalem is Calling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be changing now, or to get better soon, or get our feet on the ground, let the animals howl to move. What will you do with yourself if you don't give it one more chance? How will you live life alone in that room where you paid in advance? You got used to blaming it on everyone. Never thought you did anyone else any harm. But I'm glad to hear you're thinking about changing it. We'll give you all the help you want when you get off of that farm. Things should be changing now, or to get better soon. Get my feet on the ground. Let the animals howl. What will you do with yourself if you don't give it one more chance? How will you live life alone in that room where you paid in advance? You got tired of thinking you're the only one who ever saw the fire on top of the hill. Well, that fire is gone, and baby, you're the lonely one. And it's day and it's night, everything is still. Things should be changing now, ought to get better soon. Get your feet on the ground. Let the animals howl. What will you do with yourself if you don't give it one more chance? How will you live life alone? In that room will you pay in advance? Thanks. All right, this one's just the caffeine. We'll get to the good stuff in a minute. Chaim. The really great thing about being any type of an artist, any type of a creative person, is as the years go by, and you have a body of work or a portfolio, or you're able to look back on what you've created and remind yourself of the particular experiences, life experiences, or the era that you may have lived through, and that your music somehow vicariously is commentating on. It's very important to be able to bring those lessons of the past forward, and I think that that's really what our whole experience is really all about. While we live in the moment, we're constantly bringing the past along with us in order to make sense of today and what's happening in our lives along the way. And Klal Yisrael is funny that way because things are rather cyclical in our history, and somehow or other, by virtue, to be facetious, of our mistakes, we inevitably find ourselves once again on the wheel of history, coming around to a similar situation as we had once upon a time. That maybe in biblical times, had a lot of these, thys, and thous, but in plain Pashut English, we're in trouble again, and we have to tune into the contemporary terminology that helps us try to make sense of all of it. I've heard people say that when we think about Yerushalayim, so we're not talking about, today's Yerushalayim, with streets and lights and traffic and garbage piling up when there's a strike, We're talking about an idealized Yerushalayim, a very high place, a high-minded place. Tzion, Mitsuyan, the idealism, the ideal place, that temple Elyon. But the emes is, listen, in the days of the kings and in the days of the prophets and in the days of all the Yidden in the Sanhedrin, they had problems collecting garbage then too. So how different is the world that we live in today from then? So. Liros betuv Hashem, Liros betuv Hashem, be'eretz chayim. Lulei emanti, Liros betuv Hashem, Liros betuv Hashem, be'eretz chayim. Kavei el Hashem, Chazak v'yametz libecho, Chazak v'yametz libecho. Kaveh el Hashem, Hazak v'yametz libecho, Hazak v'yametz libecho, Kaveh el Hashem, Lulemanti, Liros b'tuv Hashem, Liros b'tuv Hashem. Chazak v'yametz libecho, Chazak v'yametz libecho, Kaveh el Hashem, Kaveh el Hashem, Chazak v'yametz libecho, Chazak v'yametz libecho, Kaveh el Hashem. Come on, everybody. Liros b'tuv Hashem, Liros b'tuv Hashem, be'eretz chayim, lulei hamanti. Liros b'tuv Hashem, Liros b'tuv Hashem, be'eretz chayim. Kaveh el Hashem, Hazak v'yametz libecho, Hazak v'yametz libecho, Kaveh el Hashem, oh, Kaveh el Hashem, Hazak v'yametz libecho, Hazak v'yametz libecho. Come on, come on, come on. Kaveh el Hashem. Thank you, Shkaya. Thank you very, very much. You know, last week it occurred to me that one of the things that I miss the most about not living in Eretz Yisrael these days. So it's been a while, actually. My family and I left the Holy City and settled in Baltimore about 12 years ago. And that was after 18 years of living in Israel. So, well, was I crazy to leave? Yes. But in any event, every once in a while you realize what was really so special. Everybody says, the Kedusha, and you feel so good there, and I really contacted the inner Jew in me, and all those things. But then you get down to remembering the specifics of, exactly what it was that made Yerushalayim so special. And I realized that one of the great things for me was that, there's so much Torah being spoken in the streets of Yerushalayim, and especially if you hang around in Geula Me'esharim and you meet all these wonderful Yerushalmis, that mamish, their whole lives have been, totally, even if they're in business, there's always a sefer open, there's always a smile on their face, there's always a sense of, Vachdus and Klal Yisrael. And I realized that one of the greatest things for me in Yerushalayim was being taken seriously. No, mamish, because you could start a conversation at any point in the Torah, and no matter how little you knew or how much you know, somebody's always ready to enter into a little bit of lumdus with you, no matter what's happening. And that's wonderful. That's just wonderful. You can be mamish, you've been a Baal Tshuva for like 3 hours, and you just want to walk around and say, Hashem Echad, Hashem Echad, Hashem Echad, and somebody's willing to say, well, listen, by the way, the perush on that, according to the Ramchal, is, and it's great, people are ready to engage you, wherever you're holding, whatever level you're on. It's a wonderful thing. There was a time also when, in the early BT days, the been there days, what I mean? So in those early days when, there were little kids in Mea Sharim that thought, that Bali Tshuva were, like from another planet, especially, when you first, a lot of people, yesterday their hair was down to here, and today they had payas, but the rest of the hair was just tied back. So they just took the front locks and curled them, and the ponytail was still hanging off the back, right? So, so you couldn't blame these beautiful little Hasidic kids in Mea Sharim with their dippity-doo, payas, looking, saying, Tate, das haben sugar now, huh? So, you couldn't blame them. You really couldn't blame them. The other thing, by the way, not that I mean to give away any real secrets, was you always knew who the Bali Tshuva were, even later, even when everybody was, already, the black and white and, and the black hats and, and the worn out shoes, and the hats that were, taken from some local gemach, to have that really, like you've been there 40 years already kind of look, but you always knew the Bali Tshuvas because they wore the striped boxers in the mikveh. Anyway, that's how you got to know people well. So anyway, and anyway, so there was BT and BVD, and there was like all the wannabes, Where are we here? I'll tell you. Let's see. And just to add a thought, things were so intense, through the early 70s up into the early 80s. Why Mashiach didn't show up in those days, I don't know. Maybe we should have just worked a little harder. אף על פי שישמע עם כל זה אחכה לו אף על פי שישמע כל יום שיבוא Take such a long time, and we might have been in once or twice too many times around Central Park, and even though we get tired and we should be a little more humble, but we still stumble through the dark. But I believe with a perfect faith if he just takes the time, reads the words, or looks between the lines and thinks about how things are gonna be. Now I found peace, sing it now. She is my man. Im kol ze achake lo. Thank you. All right, let's see where we can go. Let's. בזכולי שערי צדק עבור עבורם בודקה. Let's go! בזכולי שערי צדק עבור עבורם בודקה. בזכולי שערי צדק עבורם בודקה. בזכולי שערי צדק עבורם בודקה. Open up the gates of righteousness, let me in to worship Hashem. Open up the gates of righteousness, let me in. I want to start again. Zeh Hashem, Hashem, Tzaddikim Yavovu. Zeh Hashem, Hashem, Tzaddikim Yavovu. Come on. Thank you. All right, nice dancing, guys. Nice dancing. Yeah. I heard a quick little Torah, a little Breslov Torah from a friend of mine, Avraham Greenbaum. I don't know if any of you have ever heard his teaching when he comes in from Israel. Special, man, really special. Just, beautiful punim. He gives off a light, it's a wonderful thing. And he's one of these guys who, whenever you see him dancing at a simcha mamish, you look underneath his feet, he's not touching the ground. He's just one of those guys, And Rabbi Nachman, he told me, had all these Torahs about dancing, that the higher you lift your feet, basically, it means you're lifting yourself off the ground, away from the dirt and the tumah and, and all the little creepy things, that are always trying to bring you down. So that's what dancing is really all about. It's not that pagan thing that we all relate to dancing as being, shake your body, Soul Train. This week we got Queen Latifah. Let's sing in the blues. Okay, anyway. Thank you. שאלתי מאת השם אותה אבקש שבתי בבית השם כל ימי חיי אחת שאלתי מאת השם אותה אבקש שבתי בבית השם כל ימי חיי לחזות נועם השם לבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם השם, ולבקר בהיכל אחת שאלתי מאת השם, אותה אבקש, שבתי בבית השם, כל ימי חיי. Little solo time. Vakir behechalo, Lachzot b'noam Hashem, Ulvakir behechal achat she'alti me'et Hashem, Ota avakesh, Shivti b'veit Hashem, Kol yemei chay achat she'alti me'et Hashem, Ota avakesh, Shivti b'veit Hashem, Kol yemei Everybody know Mo Shapiro? You guys know Mo? Mo just put out a new album of his own, and we're very proud of it.
Everybody's got an album.
But anyway, Mo's going to do one of his tunes in a little while also. Did you know that?
It's news to me. So is the snow.
Yeah, right, gosh. I like snow because I remember snow from when I was a little kid, and it used to be up to my ears, and it used to take you 2 weeks to walk across the driveway, to your neighbors, and find your friends in a snowdrift, because you were off from school for 9 years, it felt that way anyway. Yeah. And when you first learned about yellow snow, anyway. Oh boy.
I hope not the hard one.
Some wise guy always says, "Here, try a snow cone." Oh. Woo. Anyway, there was always that one kid, that one annoying kid in school that used to come up, to the girls. "Here, have some flowers," and there was a little bundle of poison ivy. One little kid that today is nebuch, been put away for 30 or 40 years, and you know, and we try to keep him away from small children. Anyway. Lois of the Saint Oh, I'll tell you, it's we're getting close to Purim, and of course we're getting into this Pesach head also, and it's really cool because if you think about it, with having to drink 4 cups on Pesach, so you would think the temptation is 5 cups and 6 cups and 7 cups, but since you already were basically sick as a dog just a month before on Purim, so you approach the Seder with a little bit more moderation and humility, remembering that you only very recently were worshiping at the porcelain altar. So, to quote Robin Williams, anyway. Yeah. Will, let's see. Are we get there? Yeah, I never have a program set for this kind of show because you never know who's going to show up, and I can usually read the faces in the crowd and see what you like, and get an idea whether it's young or older, whether they want to hear Avenu Shalom Aleichem or they want to hear something a little bit more personal and original. So anyway, but. And the Lord said,
Let there be tuning.
This tuning is called Drop D. You gotta watch that one, right? Avram's open desert tent, history's children in every event are looking for a way to lighten up their load. And brighter than the sun you shine, Jerusalem, you're on my mind, you lift my soul, you echo the divine. Providence that guides us so that we may teach and all may know the hand that may admonish or reward. It's given us this holy space, Jerusalem. To you I turn, I trace my steps back to you now again. Jerusalem is calling, Jerusalem is calling. Go through the canyons of your mind until you reclaim the things you left behind. It's telling you this just might be the time. Jerusalem is calling. Jerusalem is calling. Nothing new, the map is old, but it's left here for you to unfold. A note, a memo drifts down from on high and lands upon the foundation stone. The message is, you're not alone. Jerusalem will keep your dream alive. Jerusalem is calling. Jerusalem is calling. Go through the canyons of your mind until you reclaim the things you left behind. telling you this just might be the time. Let's hear that clock working. Thank you. Ready to do so? Okay. I want to introduce my main man here, Mo Shapiro.
Thanks, thank you. It's a pleasure to see so many faces. Or any faces for that matter.
This is where I take the opportunity to drink. Go ahead, Mo. It's okay.
I better take a long time. Looks like you got a big bottle there. So, I was working on something for a while, this project, and, it took a long time, but one of the songs that I wrote on it, there always seemed to me to be an incongruity between the beauty of the words of the Shabbos Miros and, let's be kind and say some of the melodies, which seem somewhat, I'll be kind and say antiquated, but somewhat, though I'm sure they have a certain merit. So it struck me that, well, what if we made it, a little more contemporary and took some of the words. Lama Yaziv Lanizar Shalom im Teikemena Duror Yikra Liveini Bas Vin Sorchem Kimo Bavas Im Shinchem Lo Yushbas Shivu Venuchu Biyom Shabbat Shivu Shabbos Shivu v'ruchu b'yom Shabbos Shivu b'yom Shabbos Shivu v'ruchu b'yom Shabbos Shivu v'ruchu b'yom Shabbos Back to our regularly scheduled feature.
Welcome back to more of Mo Shapiro. Rhythm section. Yeah. Here's a song that got me, almost got me in trouble because people had no idea what I meant by the term rhythm messiahs. And most still don't, in fact. And even I have had to think back on exactly what I meant when I wrote them also. But what I intended to say with that, the most obscure term, was that there are many different ways of doing your avoda and many different ways of bringing people back to Yiddishkeit. And if you're an artist, paint a beautiful picture and show people the glory of Hashem in the world. And if you're a poet, so write those beautiful words, that touch people's hearts and open them up to a higher level of consciousness. And if you make movies, be Cecil B. DeMille or Spielberg, and show people ki'ilu, what it would be like if the Red Sea parts and all these different things, But whoever you are and however you do it, so you have that little spark of Mashiach in you because you're working to bring people back to Torah, back to Yiddishkeit, back to a recognition of exactly who the boss is and how this whole thing got together in the first place, and trying to make sense out of the whole thing. So my kind of people have always been musicians, and I, in fact, I include many non-Jewish musicians who I've had, the great merit to work with, people of, real stature in the music business, who are just wonderful, sweet people, and intend only good things, and somehow or other they've been brought along in some sort of an Erev Rav fashion, but they're cool, and but when I get together with my own people, Jewish musicians, people that have come back from outer space and beyond to to Yiddishkeit, some from as far away as Schenectady even. It's a different feeling, and it serves a different purpose. And that spark of not messianic, I hate that word, but that little spark of Mashiach, according to Chassidus, is in every Jew that does a chesed, does a taiva for another Jew. That makes you a little bit like Mashiach, because ultimately when Mashiach comes, he's going to be the one that's going to do us all the biggest favor and, take us all home. So that's what a rhythm messiah is, a music playing, Mashiach conscious, as that little kid in Meir Sharm said, Tate b'shugin now. But nevertheless, somebody who can do something in the world. And so I need you all now to follow along. And this song really needs a chorus because, what's the point of come to your rhythm messiahs if it's only me singing? So you're the rest of the equation.
We should try the calisthenics again.
Oh, let's go. Sorry. All right. We are going to pump you up. 1, 2, 3. We did that at the beginning. We're not going to do it now, but we can do it like this. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We'll get you higher, get you through the door. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We're what you've been waiting for. Let's go. 3 and. Innocence, music born of pain, music filled with sunshine or filled with rain. Bring us your inner desire. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We'll get you higher, get you through the door. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We're what you. All right. Did you come here with a question? It's bothered you so long. Do you need some new direction back to where you started from? Show us that inner fire. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We'll get you higher, get you through the door. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We're what you've been waiting for. Clap your hands now. Open up the curtain. Look inside the ark. Hear the music playing that'll open up your heart. Show us that inner fire. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. Yeah, yeah. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We'll get you higher, get you through the door. Pump you up. Come to your rhythm, messiahs. We're what you've been waiting for. Let's rock the house here, Mo. every man must fall. Still I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high above his wall. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Well, you understand's a man in this lonesome crowd, a man who swears he's not to blame. All day long I hear him shouting so loud, just crying out that he was framed. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, oh, anyway now, I shall be any day now, oh, anyway now, I shall be released. All right, where were you in 1969? It's been a long garden. Back to the garden. Back to the garden. Yeah, back to the garden. Tell you a true story. Oh, it was a weekend, an August weekend in the Catskill Mountains, and it was Taka in 1969. And I had my little Austin America all packed up with all my belongings. I had just broken off with my high school sweetheart. I was distraught. I thought my life was over at the tender age of 18 3/4. I thought I would never fall in love again. Never fall in love again. I was in a heartbroken summer. Anyway, so I had my car all packed up, and I was going to get my heart mended by some French-Canadian girls that I knew up in Montreal. And so there I was on Route 17 heading up to find, comfort for my broken heart. And I picked up a hitchhiker who was very much of the hippie persuasion, and we had a very high old time driving up to 17B. Where were we going? Oh yeah, he said to me that, hey, this is Woodstock weekend, man. I said, yeah. That's all I said. He said, well, do you want to go? I said, all right. How do we get in? I don't have a ticket or nothing. He said, well, that's okay, because neither do I. But let's go anyway. And I said, all right. Now, it was Thursday afternoon. It was before the big traffic jam, which backed up for 20 miles. 24 hours before naked people were prancing through the bungalow colonies along Happy Avenue. The Sharyosha bungalow colony had never seen anything like it, I promise you. But people were smiling nonetheless. Smiles were going around that weekend. I mean, believe me, if there was a way to have made money off smiles, there would have been some chassid on the corner selling them. But anyway, so we get to Woodstock, and as a matter of fact, if you've ever seen the producer's cut of the movie, where they have all these like very long, languid shots of people just driving up and people sort of standing by the side of the road and watching the cars go by. So there's a camera pans down from the side of the hill somewhere near Max Yasgur's house and pans in on this one very skinny kid with long brown hair and a pair of really weird plaid pants. And when I showed it to my kids, they immediately said, "Yup, that's you, Pop." They could tell. And anyway, so there we were, and it was Thursday afternoon. You could hear the Grateful Dead, practicing off in the distance. these very unusual people known as the hog farmers, who were very welcoming and quite spaced out, were greeting everybody. Then my good friends with their peacock feathers, the Hare Krishnas, they were starting to come in, and they're, along with all the really smiley and nice people, of course, there were the really cool guys, the drug dealers, and you could always tell that they were the cool guys because they had on these very expensive fringe buckskin jackets. They were the only guys that could afford them. But anyway, everybody was getting into the mood, and it was Thursday night, and all of a sudden it was Friday night, and all of a sudden it was Richie Havens up there singing "Freedom." I said freedom. I said freedom. 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 That was about the only thing that was free that weekend. They were charging $6 for Cokes. By the way, if you're looking at the scroll on the lower corner of my guitar here, that's Richie Havens' autograph. He left quite an impression on me, needless to say. Anyway, it was Friday night, and it was Richie Havens, and it was Ravi Shankar, and it was, I don't remember who was after that, but it was some great music. And then it started to rain, to, as we say in French, to pluche, like pluche. You know what a pluche is? It's not just rain. It's somewhere between a rainstorm and a mabul. It was like the drops were like this big, and they were coming down real slowly. You could almost catch your own reflection in each drop as it was coming. But anyway, I don't want to get hung up in that. Anyway, by Saturday night, I found my way back to my car. And dug it out of the mud and found some clean clothes and met a couple friends of mine that gave me some hot soup. And I had actually lost my shoes in the process, but that was okay because most of the place was barefoot anyway. And then something weird happened. I started to hallucinate. Let's play some hallucination music.